Over on my Instagram stories the other day, I'll leave a link to my Instagram down below if you want to come check it out, I asked you guys if you had any questions about sex. Baby, let's talk about you and me. Today I'm going to be answering some of your questions. Now, I was actually blown away by how many questions there were about sex. I went through all of them, there must have been about 500, and wrote down all the ones that I wanted to answer. And it's a lot, so I can't answer all of them in today's video, but a lot of you were asking the same kind of questions, so I thought for the most popular questions I would make a video solely about those. There were an awful lot of questions about how to introduce sex toys into a relationship. There were loads about how to have confident sex if you feel insecure about yourself and how to feel more confident in the bedroom. There were also loads about like new partners, how to talk about safe sex with them, having different libidos than your partner and how to manage that. So many incredible questions. I really want to go a lot more in depth with my answers for those particular questions because I feel like they're really important, and I also feel like a lot of you are after advice about those particular subjects, and if I was to film them all in this video it would be about 4 hours long. So I am going to make separate videos about each of those. They will be coming up very soon, so keep an eye out and be sure to subscribe so you're kept in the loop with those. But for this video I thought I would answer all questions about my experience and my kind of sex life. I guess that sounds very intimate, but I know for a fact when I was in my late teens and early 20s I could have really done with watching some videos about this particular subject online. So hopefully this video you'll learn a little bit more about me and also have a bit of a giggle and also maybe get some advice at the same time as well. Also would just like to say this is my experience as a heterosexual person, so I'm mainly going to be talking about male and female sexual positions and relationships because that's what I've got experience in. I'm going to start with one of my favourite questions that I received, and that is, I'd love to know when you've laughed the hardest during sex. Giggly sex is the best. I absolutely agree. I absolutely love feeling so comfortable and confident with your partner that it doesn't matter if something goes wrong and that you both feel open enough to have a laugh about something. Sex shouldn't always be so serious and so like orgasm is end goal. I think it should just be about you both coming together and really appreciating each other and their bodies and also having a laugh if you can. I can think of a few times that this has happened. One was when we were literally, but it was both really intense and really passionate. Just as both of us were climaxing, his bed broke. His mattress lays on like a bed with slats, and some of like the slates or slats? The slates like just buckled, and so the bed just went down and it was hilarious. We both just rolled off and laughed our heads off. Yeah, I think it's really important to feel comfortable enough with your partner to be able to have a giggle about stuff if things go wrong. Are there any positions you find cause pain during sex, and is this normal? Yeah, I would say doggy. Doggy's an interesting one. It's not always the most pleasurable, and that is because at certain times in the month during our female cycle our cervix can be a lot lower. I think it's just before our period maybe, or maybe around ovulation, but that means that doggy can be really quite painful and not pleasurable in the slightest. So that for me definitely causes a lot of uncomfortability, but I think that's quite normal. If you are concerned about it and you're getting pain a lot during sex, I would definitely recommend going to talk to your doctor so they can do some checks and maybe a smear and stuff like that. I've had a couple of questions about if I've ever had sex with a woman. I haven't. It's definitely something that I've always been interested in. I find women very attractive and I could definitely see myself doing that, but I haven't in the past. I have kissed women a lot though, not in a romantic way. I would say more just growing up, me and my friends would experiment a lot with that kind of stuff. I'd like to think I'm really open and up for trying new things, but that is something that I haven't done before. Whilst we're on the topic of positions, sexual positions, what do you think the best position for female stimulation is? I can't really orgasm through just penetration. I think this is so common, and I think it'd be really important for a lot of girls to know that they're not the only ones, and also for men to realise that they just need to do a little bit more in order to satisfy us. But definitely being on top, if you feel confident enough being on top, then either he can pleasure you externally as well as you being on top so you can like control the movement and the penetration to how best you like. Doggy style is also good for that reason, because it means he can reach around or you can reach around. Also, I was doing some research about positions for this video. It sounds ridiculous, and I learned about something called the coital alignment technique, which can be shortened to CAT. It's kind of like missionary, so the guy's on top, but if he pulls his body up a bit more, so his chest is kind of around your shoulder area, you're not like face to face, and maybe you have a pillow under your back so you're arched a little bit more, and he just grinds instead of like thrusts. I don't think I've actually tried this. I want to try it, but that sounds like it would like give more friction against your clitoris, which would be a lot more stimulating as well. It looks like this. Oh, I just dropped my phone at the camera. I'm getting far too excited about all these sexual positions. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like this. Preferred birth control method. I have spoken about this. I did a whole video on my experience with the mini pill. I was on it for 13 years. I came off last June. So it's nearly been a year now. I came off because I wasn't having any sex and I was like, this is ridiculous. I should probably give my body a bit of a break. But after coming off it, I realised and was able to see all the negative effects it's been having on me and my body and my mental health. So if you want to hear more about that, then I'll leave that video down below. I had a really low libido, I had really bad acne, definitely had some problems with mental health and depression, and also had reoccurring thrush, which I think might be linked. I think I've had one bout of thrush since, which is just like crazy for me because I used to have it all the time. So currently I'm just using condoms as my preferred method of birth control. I'm really hesitant to have any more hormonal birth control because it affected me so much and I really don't want acne to come back. Really petrified about the copper coil and getting that put in because I know it's super painful and can really disturb your periods. So I feel like I don't really have an option at the moment apart from condoms, which are a bit of a faff, but you know what, they're absolutely fine. They're expensive, but they do the job, and yeah, stop you getting pregnant. Do you get scared or weird to masturbate? This question doesn't really make sense, but I think I know what they're trying to say. Do you feel embarrassed to pleasure yourself, basically? And there have been times in the past where, yeah, I felt really like ashamed and guilty and embarrassed about having masturbated and pleasured myself. I think the more people that start talking about this, the more acceptable it will be and the less girls will feel embarrassed and ashamed about self-pleasure and self-love. I think the best way for women to know what they like in the bedroom and how to reach climax is for them to try it out themselves and really take the time to learn their body, learn what feels good for them, and I think we should never ever be embarrassed or ashamed about that. I feel it a lot less these days. I think it's definitely a thing that comes with age. When you're younger you do feel more ashamed about stuff like that, but please don't. Everyone does it. It's absolutely fine. It's normal. And doing it is only going to benefit you later in life in the bedroom. Weirdest thing someone has done in bed. Oh, I think I've got two things for this. These were quite a long time ago. The first was a guy I dated. I think we went on like 4 dates. This must have been in like 2009, 2010. It was a really long time ago, and he was really into the kind of whole torture garden thing. So I remember I went back to his and he had a trunk filled with latex and like handcuffs and sex toys and all this stuff, and at that point I wasn't very experienced. I think I'd only had like one long-term boyfriend and a couple of other like short-term thing, so I wasn't that confident in the bedroom, and that was all fine. We didn't try any of it together, but he did tell me that he really loved and was turned on by wee, and he asked if I would wee on him, and I said no, absolutely not, like so not, far too embarrassed to do that, doesn't turn me on, and also it's quite messy. And he was like, that's fine then, can I just watch you go to the toilet, and whilst you're weeing can you open your legs a bit? And I was just like, I don't feel comfortable with that. So we stopped dating shortly after. But I mean, everyone's allowed to have their own fetishes and turn-ons, but that wasn't for me. Not saying that's weird, it's just something that I hadn't experienced before. The second thing was a guy who fell asleep with the condom on straight after we had sex, kind of turned over and fell asleep, but he didn't take the condom off, and I was like, firstly, isn't that painful? Secondly, that's kind of gross, like, ugh, take it off. So I had to wake him up. I literally was like, do you want to take that off? And then even worse, he didn't even take it to a bin or get up and get some tissue. He literally just put it on my bedroom floor. And I was like, that's mine to deal with in the morning then, because he definitely didn't deal with that the next morning. He was quite tired, apparently he said that day, but still, I think it's just decency to sort yourself out after. Fave position and why. I have a couple of favourite positions. One of them is definitely spooning. I just really like it. It's kind of like perfect for lazy morning sex. It doesn't require much effort. I also love being on top. I just find that it puts me in control, so I can do exactly what I want in order to pleasure myself at the same time as pleasuring my partner. And also I love that it means we can look at each other and have that eye contact, which is really important to me during sex as well. And to go along with that, what's my least favourite position? I don't have any that I really dislike. Standing up really does nothing for me, as well as, this is a little bit controversial maybe, but like shower sex doesn't really do anything for me either. I think I'm so worried about water getting right up in my vagina that I can't enjoy it at all. And it's also just a bit like slippery and slidey and just not, like, it's good for foreplay, I would say, and then move it into the bedroom. How old were you your first time? I'm pretty sure I was 16. It was with my first long-term boyfriend. We dated in total for about 3 years. I can't remember how long into our relationship we were. It was probably quite a while because I was a virgin and he wasn't. I guess it was a really big deal to me. But yeah, I was around 16 and I remember texting my mum after and be like, I had sex. So lame. That leads me on quite nicely into this question. What does your family think about your sex and sex toy content? I think they're really generally quite supportive about it. There have been times when I've texted my grandparents and them to say, don't watch my channel today. My grandparents do sometimes look at my YouTube channel, so I'll just say, don't watch this. I did it as well when my glitter boobs video went up, when I did a video of me covering my boobies in glitter. I texted them and I was like, Nanny and Granddad, don't watch today's video. And they were like, alright Kate, keep a vest on next time. So funny. But my family are generally really supportive and we're very open with each other. I feel very confident talking to my mum about sex and my sister about sex. I would like to think that they're proud of me talking about stuff like this, and just hope that they don't really watch it themselves. Like, they can see the title and see the kind of themes that I'm talking about. And my final question, what do you like about having sex? I think it's different with different people. So for example, my favourite thing about having sex with my current partner is that I just feel really intimate and connected with him, and that's really important to me. I love how close it makes me feel to him, and I love how great he is at pleasuring me in the bedroom. There's nothing quite like having that close bond with someone. I guess I should say I've never ever had a one night stand. There have been guys that I've slept with just once, but I have dated them previously and kind of built up to that. So I've never like kind of had a drunken fumble, so I can't say that I have sex just for pleasure. Like, I know that I can always rely on myself for pleasure and my toys, but there's nothing quite like having the warmth of someone that you really love in your arms, and yeah, it's just that connection, I think. And also orgasms feel amazing, but also the lead up to orgasm is also just so, yeah, intense and lovely and exciting. I love edging as well. I don't think I've spoken about this on my channel before, but edging is kind of just as you get close to orgasm, you kind of stop and pull back and wait, and then you start again, and it just makes the experience a lot longer but a lot more like intense and frustrating, and it feels amazing. And so yeah, it's not just about the end goal, I think it's just about that experience with someone you love. There's also a question here, how long did you and your boyfriend date before you slept together? We slept together on our second date. We had our first date and we had a lot of cheeky snogs on that, which was amazing. But because we were both quite busy at the time, we couldn't have our second date until 10 days later. So over those 10 days we were talking pretty much every day, and I was really like excited to see him again, because he just felt, the date felt so much different to any of the previous ones that I'd been on. We had a really romantic second date, and we ended up at his and had sex a lot that evening, which was just lovely. So yeah, I don't think there should be any shame on how soon you sleep with someone. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you consent to, then go for it, have fun. I really hope you have enjoyed this video and learnt a little bit more about me and my sexual experiences. Do be sure to subscribe because I will be doing a lot more videos around sex content and relationship content coming up. I have the biggest list now of things I can talk about, thanks to you guys. Also, I'd love if you could come and follow me on Instagram, because I am going to be asking you guys for questions. So if there's anything that you want to know in particularly about relationships or dating or advice, then the best way to contact me, I guess, is through comments here or on Instagram if you want to remain anonymous. I love you guys lots, and I will see you next week. Mwah!